I want to
So
ask about something real quick too. Is you know, I know you have some of the crazy stuff. You have huge systems, but my channel is mostly about getting people into this.
mhm.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they would be intimidated. They'd be like, I have no idea why does it have like those weird looking XLR ports in the back. Like they don't even have an idea like
They
why,
don't even
you
know
know,
what an XLR
they're
port is.
new,
They're
right?
like, what is this
They're coming from a
weird?
sound bar. And so I know because Monoprice is targeting the affordable demographic, you're trying to add a lot of value. I'm kind of curious to see, like, I've been asking a lot of companies for a small class D amplifier with HDMI ARC, right? Small, like it can even be 2 channel. It has to be small. So basically, the idea being somebody who's coming from a sound bar, right? And I want to move them towards at least, let's say, a 2.1 channel or at least a 2 channel, 2 bookshelf speakers, which you guys sell. And so I was at Best Buy and I noticed like people aren't scared of the speakers. I can get people convinced on the speakers, right? I'll talk to people who are looking for sound bars all random. And they'll be cool with the speakers and some stands. But once I show them that AVR, they're out of there. They're like, no, no,
Yeah.
no. I've seen
Yeah.
one of those. I used to have one of those in a stereo rack and it looked the same. I'm not in for that. But if you could get them a small, class D amp with HDMI ARC, you plug in your bookshelf speakers, and if it could have Dirac, I mean, that would be even crazier. But just curious why that hasn't happened yet.
I that's a good question. I mean, I'm actually pretty curious to see how Klipsch does with their fives.
Mhm.
Because they did build in an HDMI ARC into the back of that speaker. I thought that was a really cool choice. And to see if you can get the average Joe to go with like a pair of bookshelf speakers and a little sub instead of just throwing a sound bar in front of his TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do kind of wonder. I mean, we've talked about a lot of stuff internally that obviously never sees the light of day, right? And that would be pretty interesting product.
Yeah,
I think
it's something that they could hook up some passive speakers to, right, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I have the fives right here. I just did my review of them. I think they're gonna sell a ton, especially because
Oh yeah, I'm
I
sure.
mean, my as far as my review, this is what people need. I could
Yeah.
easily recommend this to people who are looking for a soundbar. I'm like, forget the soundbar, just get this. They look awesome. Just get these. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious for somebody who would want to add their own speakers because now there's modularity, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's kind of what gets people moving up into the hobby. Like, all right, I have these speakers. I want to try an amp. Okay, I'm gonna get better speakers, and there's a way and there's an upgrade path, right?
Right.
And so I think that's kind of interesting to do that. And maybe if you guys were really crazy about it, let's say if it's a small class D amp, maybe there's a way to like hook it up so it's like once you upgrade your front, to a bigger amp, that it could work wirelessly as like rear.
Oh, wow. Now
you
you're
know,
stretching.
No.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You gotta
now
be
you're getting
creative,
crazy.
right?
But
Usually
you know,
by Lisa,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised at how many comments I'll even get on like, hey, do you know of a wireless some way I can hook up my rear surrounds wirelessly?
Sure.
Like I know Yamaha has a way of doing it, but then you have to buy the whole Yamaha system. So, that's another avenue that people are looking for just to make the install easier. People aren't crazy like me, ripping up carpet, cutting out padding, stuffing the cables all the way around.
So let me ask you this: so you have wireless rears, you need to get power to that speaker.
I know.
So they're gonna be plugged in. They're gonna be plugged in.
My question is always this: is it because like my living room is an example. I don't have outlets
Right.
where my rear speakers would be.
Yeah. It's like,
So
how are you going to make that happen?
it's easier for me to fish speaker wire
Mhm.
than it is to try to run power.
Yeah.
I can say for specifically, I've done a setup at my my wife's parents' house, and they do have outlets behind their couch,
Yeah.
and I didn't have to run wire from the front all the way up and then down. I didn't want to do that, so it made it easy to
I
do
guess
the
it just
wireless
depends on
around.
your setup. You've got that accessibility.
So I
So-
So yeah, I don't know if you guys. I'm sure you guys have heard of WISA, the
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
right. I think that's a pretty intriguing wireless solution.
There's a couple of systems. I think one's like 700, another's 1200, like 5.1.
Right.
WiSA, you connect it right to your TV, and then you're good to go, right?
Right. Well, I think that's something that Weiss has been really smart. I actually met with them the last CES and had a really good discussion, but they were getting themselves the transmitter built into TVs. And I actually
Mhm.
think that's a really
Ah,
smart
that
way
is
to
a smart
go,
way to go about it. Yeah.
because then, to the average consumer, they just buy a WiSA compatible soundbar speakers. All they got to do is plug them in, turn them on, and they'll find the TV, and they're done. Almost easier than pairing like a Bluetooth speaker.
Sure.
So I think if you see that platform really take off and have a really large installed base, you could see us do something along that. What I don't know if we would be a market leader in
Yeah.
anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would rather somebody else go.
And the reality is, I think with any brand, you got to figure out like what is your lane.
Right.
Some companies do try to be all things to all people, and then they begin to lose their focus, and then they're not producing like quality stuff. And so I think there is some wisdom in not going after everything out there. Like, oh, we can get into this. Oh, we can get into this. It's like figure out where your heart is. Where do you want to be, and then be the very best that you can be in that market.
Right.